Chapter 26. Managing Conflict. How to argue without destroying each other. Have you ever argued with your partner over something minor, something seemingly trivial, and after the dust settled, found yourself wondering how you ended up saying such hurtful things? If so, you're not alone. In every relationship, conflict is inevitable. What matters isn't whether we argue, but how we argue. Even the strongest couples sometimes exchange sharp looks or cool words. Love doesn't mean the absence of conflict, it's the ability to move through it together. Let's face it, no matter how close two people are, they are still two different minds, two universes that sometimes collide, and sparks can fly. That's perfectly normal. But why do we really argue? Most of the time, it isn't about the plate left in the sink or the socks on the floor. Those are just surface sparks. The fire burns deeper, fueled by unspoken feelings, unmet needs, and unvoiced fears. Someone says, "I'm upset you didn't take out the trash," while inside they may be thinking, "I wish you'd help me more. I want to feel like we're a team." Or one partner explodes about the other working late. But behind the complaint lies a hurt. "I miss you. I feel your absence." Every bitter reproach hides a wish or a wound. They say that in a loud argument there is often a silent cry for love. The problem is that in the heat of emotion, it's hard to own and vulnerably express what we really feel. It's easier to throw out, "You never listen to me," than to say calmly and honestly, "I feel lonely when you don't listen." Vulnerability takes courage, whereas blame leaps to our lips the moment we're hurt. Unfortunately, reproaches, insults, or labels, "You're impossible, you don't care about me at all," act like poison-tipped arrows. Once released, they wound deeply and leave scars on our hearts. And here's the sad part. We often don't say these things out of hatred, but out of pain. When we suffer, we lash out. It's an almost universal human reflex. This is where the difficult art of managing conflict comes in. How do we argue without destroying each other? First, by remembering right in the heat of the moment that the goal isn't to prove who's right, but to understand one another. In those tense moments, your partner isn't the enemy, even if you've ended up on opposite sides. You're on the same team, you've just lost your rhythm for a moment. If we saw conflict as a puzzle to solve together, not a war to win, what would change? Maybe our tone, maybe the words we choose. When you get angry, your body goes on high alert. Your heart beats faster, your face flushes, your muscles tense. Our primitive brain doesn't distinguish between a heated conversation with someone you love and an encounter with a hungry lion. That's why you sometimes feel the urge to yell or, conversely, to slam the door and leave the room. It's our natural self-protective response. But in love, if we aren't aware of these instincts, they can do more harm than good. The first step is exactly this. Notice when you've slipped into autopilot in the middle of an argument. When you feel your blood boiling and sharp words are about to burst out, breathe. Yes, really, a brief pause to take a deep breath may seem laughably simple, but it works wonders. The pause gives you a chance to remember, hey, the person in front of me is still the person I love. I don't want to hurt them. I want us to work this out. Some partners even use a little cue. They remind themselves in the heat of the conflict to say, "I know we don't agree right now, but I care about you," before continuing the discussion. It's their way of reminding each other that love is still here, even when sparks are flying. A healthy conflict requires truly listening to what the other person is trying to say, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Look past the angry words and search for the feeling underneath. It's hard, I know. When your partner says angrily, "You forgot again to," your mind is already preparing a defense or a counterattack. But what if for a moment, you stayed quiet and listened? You might hear beneath the raised voice, their sadness or frustration. You might discover that "you forgot again to wash the dishes" really means "I could use some help. I feel overwhelmed doing this alone." Empathic listening is like a superpower in the middle of an argument. It diffuses tension because when someone feels heard, half their anger evaporates. Think about yourself. When you're upset and the other person truly listens and says sincerely, "I understand that you're upset. Let's see what we can do," doesn't your anger settle down? Sometimes a simple line like, "I hear you. Please tell me what's bothering you," can save an evening that seemed lost. Equally important is how we respond. Instead of "you always, you never," which sounds accusatory and puts your partner on the defensive, we can speak about ourselves. "I feel hurt when," I know that in the heat of the moment, who has the time to phrase things nicely? But it's worth the effort. Words are like genies. Once released, it's hard to put them back in the lamp. So choose them carefully, even when you're angry. And another thing, no argument should end without making up. Let's not forget the healing power of a heartfelt "I'm sorry," a hug once you've both calmed down, or a light joke to ease the tension. You know that moment when, after you've bickered, one of you cracks a joke and suddenly you both burst into laughter? It's like a breath of fresh air. Those small reconciliation rituals, a kiss on the forehead, a "let's order a pizza and forget about this," are the mortar that keeps the bricks of love in place, even if they've been shaken a little. What matters is that at the end of the day, each person can feel, "Okay, we argued, but we're okay, we're in this together." So conflict doesn't have to be the boogeyman of the relationship, something to fear or avoid at all costs. On the contrary, it can be a chance to grow, to get to know ourselves and each other better. A fight can bring important things to light, can open a topic we would otherwise keep postponing. If we approach it with care, with respect, and yes, with love, then conflict doesn't destroy, it builds. It's like a summer storm that clears the stifling air. The thunder startles you in the moment, but then you catch that clean scent after the rain. Similarly, after an honest, respectful confrontation, the relationship can breathe easier and shine brighter. It's a quiet evening in late autumn. Jennifer sits at the kitchen table, absently twirling a fork and looking toward the front door. The air carries the smell of a reheated dinner, pasta with tomato sauce that has now grown a bit cold. Michael is late getting home again, and the plates are waiting. When Michael finally walks through the door, damp from the fine rain outside and worn out after a long day at work, Jennifer feels her shoulders loosen for a split second. Relief that he's okay. Then a timid smile stiffens on her lips. "Hi. I made dinner," she says softly. "Hey, hi," Michael replies, shrugging off his wet jacket. "Sorry, that meeting ran long, and then 2 urgent emails caught me. I'm starving. What have we got?" His voice is warm but rushed. He sits down as Jennifer brings the plates. Michael pulls out his phone and sets it beside him, the screen lighting up periodically with notifications. They start to eat, and Jennifer watches him across the table, searching for a moment of connection. "How was your day?" she asks, trying to sound casual, though the fatigue shows in her voice. "Piff, it was long, really exhausting. The boss came in with some last-minute demands," Michael says between bites. The phone buzzes on the table and, reflexively, his gaze drops to the screen. Jennifer bites her lip. "I get it. It was a tough day," she says softly, tracing the rim of her plate with her fork. "Today, I had a conversation with my sister, and I wanted to tell you about it." Comes from Michael as he picks up his phone and starts scrolling through something, probably an email or a message. Jennifer feels a prick in her chest, a mix of disappointment and frustration. She keeps her eyes fixed on her plate for a moment, trying to steady her voice. "Michael, can you put the phone down at least while we eat?" she asks, her voice controlled, though the annoyance is audible. Michael looks up, a little taken aback. Yeah, sorry, I was just checking something from work. In a second," he says, but his finger is still grazing the screen. "Seriously, in a second, meaning after you finish reading whatever online, instead of talking to me?" Jennifer shoots back, unable to keep a trace of sarcasm from creeping into her voice. Michael sets the phone down and looks at her. The fatigue in his eyes starts to shift into a shadow of irritation. Okay, I'm sorry. Look, I put it down all right. What did you want to tell me? He asks, resting his chin in his hand in a visibly forced attempt to show he's listening. Jennifer hesitates. She feels he isn't truly present, that he's irritated and just putting on a show. She knows that absent look all too well, and it sparks a flame of dissatisfaction in her too. No, leave it. There's no point now, she says, standing up abruptly from the table and carrying her plate to the sink with quick, brisk movements. Michael sighs, half rising from his chair. Seriously, I do want to hear. Tell me, he insists, but his voice is flat. The clatter of the plate in the sink answers him for her. Look, I really don't understand why you're making such a fuss, Michael says through clenched teeth as he gets up from the table. I had a rough day, Jen. I had a rough day too, she bursts out, turning toward him with the empty plate still in her hand. And I'm trying to talk to you, to spend at least half an hour together, but you're glued to that phone as if I weren't even here. Her voice trembles slightly at the end of the sentence. Michael blinks, caught off guard by the intensity of her reaction. He runs a hand through his damp hair and twists his fingers nervously. God, here we go again, he mutters mostly to himself, but loud enough for her to hear. Excuse me? What did you say? Jennifer's eyes flash dangerously. Michael looks up at the ceiling, trying to steady himself. He feels a vein throbbing at his temple. You're starting again, he bursts out. I just got home and you're already yelling at me because what? Because I checked an email. Do you really have to make a tragedy out of this? The words come out harsher than he intended, but now they're out. Jennifer freezes for a second, then sets her plate down on the kitchen counter with slightly trembling hands. A tragedy, I see. That's what you think it is? She says, her voice low and cutting. That I want 5 minutes of your attention, and to you that's a tragedy. Jen, you're overreacting. I said I'm sorry. I put the phone down. What more do you want? Can't I be tired without you getting upset over every little thing? Every little thing. His words hang between them like an unjust verdict. Jennifer feels a lump rise in her throat. Her cheeks burn and, despite herself, her eyes fill with tears. You think I get upset over every little thing? She whispers, her voice breaking. Michael, can't you see I'm trying to... She stops. Her vision blurs with tears, and she turns her head, ashamed, so he won't see her crying. Michael looks at her, and for a moment, his anger dissolves, giving way to a heavy sense of guilt. He realizes that in her eyes, which now avoid his, there is not only anger, but a deep hurt. The silence between them hangs heavy. In that quiet, Michael hears only the drip of a leaking faucet and Jennifer's ragged breathing as she quickly wipes away a tear with the back of her hand. He realizes he has hurt her. Slowly, he takes a step toward her. Jen, he begins, his voice low, different, full of regret. Hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. Jennifer tucks her hair behind her ear and takes a deep breath, trying to pull herself together. You feel lonely, don't you? Michael continues slowly, searching her eyes. I've been pretty absent lately, I know that. His words, hesitant as they are, fall like a gentle rain over her tense heart. Jennifer looks up at him, amazed that he understood. Yes, she whispers, honestly, letting her guard down. I feel lonely. Sometimes it's like you're far from me even when you're right here. I miss us. I miss you. She speaks the last words in a choked voice, but somehow feels relieved to have said them. Michael sighs and steps closer, reaching for her hand. He touches it lightly, and for the first time that evening his eyes are clear, present. "Forgive me," he says, genuine regret in his voice. "I've been a jerk. It's entirely my fault I let work, and all the stupid stuff consume me. You're here, you made dinner for us, you're trying to talk to me, and I acted like you don't matter. I'm so sorry." Jennifer shakes her head, squeezing his hand. "I'm sorry too. I shouldn't have yelled at you. I know you're tired. It's just that, tonight I really needed to feel you close." Michael takes a step and gathers her in his arms, holding her tightly against his chest. Jennifer rests her head on his shoulder, feeling his heart beating. Their embrace is warm and lingering, like a mutual promise that they're on the same team. After a few moments, Michael eases back just enough to see her face. With the corner of his sweater, he gently wipes a trace of a tear from her cheek. "How about this?" he says, attempting a smile. "Tomorrow night I'm taking you out, just the two of us. No phones, no distractions. We'll go to your favorite restaurant, or anywhere you want. Deal?" Jennifer finally smiles, a genuine, warm smile of relief. In her eyes, little sparks of hope dance again. "I'd like that," she giggles softly. "But you know what? Right now I'm really not in the mood for food. How about we watch that dumb movie you keep saying you like?" Michael lets out a short, liberating laugh and kisses her on the forehead. "The movie's going to be brilliant, you'll see." Jennifer nods, amused. Still in each other's arms, they head toward the couch. Outside, the rain keeps falling, but inside the atmosphere has shifted. It's bright again, warmed by reconciliation and their easy laughter. Like after a passing storm, the air is clearer now. They settle in, ready to turn an almost ruined evening into a moment of tenderness and reconnection. In this story, the conflict between Jennifer and Michael starts with a small gesture, checking the phone during dinner, but escalates because of the hidden meanings behind it. For Jennifer, the phone Michael won't put down becomes a symbol of his emotional absence. Behind her sarcastic lines, "Your phone matters more to you than I do," lies the hurt and the longing. "I wish you would truly be present, see me and listen to me." Michael, on the other hand, feels attacked and misunderstood. He had come home tired, his mind still on work problems, and he read her comments as unfair criticism. Hence his defensiveness, "You're overreacting, making a big deal out of nothing." Instead of hearing the insecurity and sadness in Jennifer's voice, he heard only blame, and he defended himself by striking back with harsh words. We can see how a classic miscommunication scenario almost led them to disaster. She expressed her need for attention as a reproach, and he responded to the reproach with irritation and sarcasm. They were hurting each other without actually intending to. When their negative emotions peaked, Jennifer burst into tears, and that was the turning point. Her tears cut through the noise of the fight and showed Michael the essence of the situation. His girlfriend was hurting. The moment he saw the pain behind her anger, he realized the phone wasn't the real issue. He changed his approach, from combative and defensive to empathetic. He validated her feeling, "You feel alone, I know," and offered a sincere apology. That shift allowed Jennifer to lower her guard and say directly what she felt, "I miss you." Instead of continuing to attack each other, they began to communicate. He owned his absence, and she acknowledged her overreaction. Thus, the conflict that seemed to push them apart became an opportunity to grow closer. In the end, the two not only made peace, but also understood something important. Behind their hurt was, in fact, the desire to be appreciated and loved. Jennifer wanted his attention and tenderness. Michael wanted understanding for his exhaustion. Natural needs they discovered only when they allowed themselves to be vulnerable and honest. When we remember we're a team and speak with respect, conflict becomes a problem to solve together, not a battle of egos. Arguments and conflicts are part of every couple's life. No one lives in perpetual harmony, and that's okay. What matters is how we handle them. Do we let them tear us apart, or do we use them as stepping stones toward a stronger relationship? When both partners choose to communicate openly, listen with empathy and apologize when they're wrong, any argument, no matter how heated, can have a healthy resolution. We won't always manage to keep our cool or say everything perfectly. We're human after all. But if there's respect, affection, and a sincere desire to stay together, no conflict is insurmountable. So, the next time you feel a dispute flaring up with the person you love, remember Jennifer and Michael, and remember that the two of you are a team. Take a moment, breathe, and look at your partner with the mindset that you're on the same side. Share what you feel, not what the other person did wrong, and listen the way you'd want to be listened to. It's remarkable how, by doing so, even the toughest conversations can end in an embrace. Love doesn't mean we never argue, it means we argue well, with care for one another.